it did create momentary panic, but I don't think it really did significantly degrade Hezbollah's communications network. And it did kill some Hezbollah commanders, um, but again, Hezbollah was left largely, its command structure was left largely intact. So just looking at it in a strategic sense, or a pure military sense, it was not successful. And I think, to be honest, I think that it may have proved to, if anything, have bolstered Hezbollah's position within Lebanese society. We were talking about how, in a lot of ways, it's actually not what they did there had perhaps more justification, or was less cruel, less barbaric than a lot of things that Israel has done, certainly in Gaza and in Lebanon too. But for whatever reason, I think it's just the scenes of, explosions occurring in shopping centers and in cars and whatever really terrified people. And I think it got to them in a way that sometimes even the image of a completely pancaked, a residential building or apartment building doesn't get to people for some reason. They just see this pile of rubble and they don't understand sometimes, well, that maybe there were 10 families in there, but they don't see them. But it's just these images, I guess, because we're talking about such common everyday objects, mobile communications devices that we all carry around. It really, terrified people. And it certainly had, that effect within Lebanon in general. One thing that we haven't talked about earlier is that Hezbollah is not just constrained by, by the IDF, by its relative power and ability to retaliate. It has to consider its position within Lebanese society. It is not a state actor. It's a kind of a sub-state actor. And it does have to, it's part of the Lebanese government, part of a wider Lebanese society. And much of Lebanon is really very reluctant to get involved in a war. Now, Hezbollah made this commitment to support the Palestinians of Gaza, I think, which is a very moral commitment, but not all of Lebanon went along with that. But this incident actually seems to have galvanized support for Hezbollah within Lebanon. You had the Lebanese president coming out and saying, basically, we support Hezbollah, unconditionally. They need to fight back and let them decide how to do it. And you weren't getting statements like that before. So it may have, there was a very clever attack. Obviously it was ingenious. It required a lot of foresight, a lot of planning. Some of the reports are that it actually was 15 years in the making. In the end, in fact, it may not have. Rather, if you look at it strategically, it was probably a great bust. If anything, it really didn't hurt them, Hezbollah, significantly in military terms, and it strengthened them politically. And it's just, they're just,
go ahead. Like you're saying, just the visual of it just comes off as a terrorist attack. The idea of somebody walking into a shop and blowing themselves up. You had kind of mini versions of that all throughout Lebanon, thousands of people going around their daily lives. So I can see that, we were talking about debating, like, is this a valid attack carried out by the IDF? But regardless, I do think that it does border terrorism. It's hard to know exactly who was holding all these things, especially
well, they knew they were going to kill a lot of civilians. There's no question about it.
Right, and it's just throughout a heavily populated center, right. So it is going to create terror and panic. So I can see how the Lebanese people would rally behind Hezbollah and say, "Yeah, we got to stop this. This is terrifying. Everybody's got a smartphone. Everybody's got something. And if you're just a regular Lebanese person in Beirut." You'd have to be freaking out. Just don't touch my phone. Don't touch anything. I'm going to stay offline. Because who knows if there's, like you said, 15 years in the making, how many other devices could of Israel have put explosives into your
Yeah.
microwave, into your TV, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that paranoia going through it. So
Yeah, no, and within Lebanon, I don't think it would be unjustified. I think I would be rather paranoid.
yeah. Yeah, like we said, you know, it was ingenious, and in some ways, it was targeted towards Hezbollah, but obviously these devices got into other people.
Yeah.
But if you just try to look at it in any other situation, if any other country did this,
Right.
it would be viewed as a terrorist attack, right?
Sure.
That's
right. Again, I'm saying it's less barbaric than a lot of what Israel does, but it's still barbaric.